Hi, I'm Mike Ford. I'm the founder of SiteMinder, and I'm bringing you this week's roundup of the World Hotel Index from sunny Sydney, where we are seeing restrictions lift day by day and have quite a lot of domestic travel underway, with domestic tourism surging quite significantly. Very similar situation to our New Zealand neighbours, who have been super successful in eradicating the virus and have really opened up their economy in a big way. So further positive news there, and the opportunity for travel to between New Zealand and Australia looks more likely than ever, and possibly the Pacific Islands, which would be a big relief for them. So a great story this side of the world. However, there are a lot of regions still struggling, but there are also bright spots emerging. And so we see this week that global travel is now 40% of 2019's bookings at the same time last year, which is a tremendous uptick from where we have been. While it would normally be catastrophic, it's definitely trending in the right way. So a positive story there, as you can see from the World Hotel Index graphs. In mid-May, as governments around the world began loosening travel restrictions, we predicted that many consumers would act to travel again at the soonest possible moment. That prediction was actually affirmed last week as we introduced the guest horizon into the World Hotel Index. We saw travelers from countries such as New Zealand and Taiwan, and how they had already begun booking stays for this month or next. That trend continued over the past week, interestingly led by Malaysia, where nearly all activities there have resumed after a 3-month lockdown. Malaysians can now travel domestically, and with that freedom, we can see here that all bookings made within the last 2 weeks see that 3 and 4 of those offer stays this month in July. Nationwide, hotel bookings in Malaysia have actually soared from 26% year over year to 40% year over year this past week. And that's actually our fastest riser on the index. However, the continued closure of the country's international borders may not be great news for hotels around the world that actually accept these outbound travelers from Malaysia. Like Indonesia, Malaysia is not allowing citizens to make the annual pilgrimages to Islam's holiest sites. And the restriction actually begs the questions around the state of the multi-billion-dollar religious tourism industry in a post-COVID world. Without doubt, hotels in countries such as Italy, India, Israel, and Nepal, which also attract millions of religious travelers each year, will be impacted in a big way. On the flip side, Thailand is looking at allowing 1,000 foreign visitors to enter the country daily from countries like Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, because they've done really well in containing the virus. So it's really a story of individual markets connecting with each other based on how they feel about the performance of those particular nations in containing the virus and the risk associated with that. So it's really a case-by-case basis as countries start to open their borders for international travel. Within Thailand, business travelers are amongst the target group, which is welcome news for local hotels, and that they are really missing that corporate business. And interestingly, as we see here in the World Hotel Index, it shows us that international travelers form around 80% of all arrivals in Thailand between August and January. So 12 countries around the world have now taken over the average hotel booking volume globally, including New Zealand, which now sits at 77% year over year. The United States sits at 58% year over year. The Netherlands is 58% of 2019 bookings, and Ireland is at 45% of 2019 bookings. By contrast, while other countries in the Pacific are quickly recovering through new domestic trips, we see here that Fiji and Vanuatu, who rely predominantly on inbound international tourism, continue to remain below 8% when it comes to hotel bookings. So again, these countries which claim they have done a great job in containing the virus are still suffering and really trying to strike these direct international travel agreements with countries like Australia and New Zealand. South Africa and Chile still struggling, clearly have challenges around containing the virus and opening up the economy, and are still challenged in terms of travel with a 10% of 2019 hotel booking levels, which is extremely challenging. And although even in countries like the UK, where we're starting to see slight movement, it's clear that The country's struggling with hotel bookings remaining at sub 15% of year-over-year levels. At a city level, we've actually seen some quite big moves on the index this last week. Miami particularly is a standout. It's shot up from being a week ago 53% of 2019 booking volumes, and it's now sitting at 83% of 2019 booking volumes a week later. So that's quite a big move. Tampa's gone from strength to strength. Was 110% last week of 2019 booking levels, and we see it at 124% this week. Similarly, if we look at Koh Samui in Thailand, that's risen a massive amount from 29% year-over-year booking levels a week ago to now sitting at 41% of 2019 booking levels this week. So that's a big move. And I think the common theme that we see here is that as people recover from this pandemic, they're looking to head to the beach and get some rays. So there's some quite big city movements going on. As always, you can view the live World Hotel Index on SiteMinder.com yourself and have a bit of a browse around. There's some really interesting trends happening. Please feel free to get in there and have a look around. You can also receive my weekly update by signing up for Home for Hotels. Hope you've enjoyed the brief wrap, and we'll catch you again next week.